Hello, welcome to this video. Thank you so much for tuning in, sharing this now moment with myself and with one another. If you haven't seen these videos before, welcome back. If you have, my intention is benevolence for all in alignment with the highest levels of love light. So thank you so much for tuning in. Kind of making this my office space for now since the weather's a little bit cooler and it seems like the sound is better out here than it is inside. And we're going to see how this goes today. Apologies for playing with the microphone, but because I'm in flow a little bit right now, a lot of messages coming in. And sometimes when there's a lot of energy coming in, it's a little bit more difficult for me to make it linear. So I'm just going to go with it and see what happens, what wants to come through. So I invite you to set your intention if you wish to just be open, and I always set my intention to fully align with the highest aspect that is me, my highest aspect and source energy. As we come into these new codes, as we come into these new spaces, as we come into these new realizations, as we come into these new alignments, these X factors, so to speak, these X factorizations, these mathematical equations that are equaling to, that are lining us up, that are in equality, in equal for all. It's like 0 point, like everything is adding up to balance out, not unequal, inequality. So they're playing on words here. And I just wrote up a bunch of things, which is what led me to sit down and share this with you guys, having to do with some alignments and portals. And what they were sharing is that we are the portals. We do have these abilities, we have this ability, and they're saying the word uncanny. So there's a lot of stuff. Open up the can of worms. This uncanny ability. So I'll have to kind of play with the meaning of that word. And to line up with these portals, these access points, the grid. It's like we're coming into this space. We have the 1111 portal in addition to multiple, multi-dimensionality, multiplication, multiple implications that are adding up and assisting us in this journey, in this void. So it's almost like we're in this new creative space, and this not only lines us up with previous 1111 portals or previous 11-1 portals, but it also lines us up with future ones as well. It's almost like like a Rubik's Cube, or if you look at Tetris, it's like we're lining up, or connect the dots, that game where you put the connect the dots. So it's kind of like we're coming into this alignment, and the more that we can be in our bliss space, our coherent space, the easier it is for us to synchronize with these broader aspects. And so what they show me is as this stuff lines up, it's like it lights up the whole grid. It's like ding, 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 right? And this is when we get a lot of downloads, activations. Well, let me rephrase that. We're always receiving downloads and activations, but it gives us, the word that's coming through is it's enhancing. And I'm also getting this message that it has to do with geometry, just like astrology charts, right? We're lining up in these spaces in the universe, omniverse, multiverse as well. So it's not just a date in a time calendar, so to speak. It's more than that. It's a geometric, mathematical, equalines, opportunity, lines and trajectories lining up. This also has to do with Leo, Lionsgate portal, and that conjunction in conjunction with new astrological in geometry, geomancy. So there is this rebirth, death of the old, and it's like a resurrecting some of the frequencies that had been put to rest, so to speak, that are now being rebirthed in a higher alignment with so much. I see so many pictures that I sometimes I'm not able to put into words, but geomancy. So we're lining this up with not only geographically, with the earth, with the stones, with the ley lines, with the portals, with the vortexes, right? X marks the spot. All of these access points, it's like a puzzle lining up to assist us. And the more that we are in that space of least resistance, standing within, the easier it is for us to feel. They're showing me the picture, if you guys have ever seen Harry Potter, and if you go into the Harry Potter's world, so to speak, if you're in, what is it, Hogwarts, like there's all those ladders that line up to take you to floors, and sometimes the ladders misalign and they take you to a different floor. And as you go across these ladders and as they're moving, you're able to see new opportunities, new floors, new creations. So it's kind of like that. It's like play with what we're feeling and experiencing. And the more that we can stay in that, they're saying creative abundance, the more it'll flow, and those abundance codes will multiply. It's almost like playing a video game, and if you play a certain way, you get a certain amount of points, we'll say, for example. But if you find the hidden gems, like, I don't know, it's like the rewards things, like you know, there's secret rewards. So if you know the video game, somebody that's new to the game may not know all of the secrets, but you go down a separate path to pick up this extra gold coin that essentially allows you to expand into an even bigger game. So that's kind of what they're showing me. It's like, for those of us who are expanding it's like, instead of doubling up, we can also triple up if we want to. So recognizing that, and it's not a competition. They're not saying that this is the way that it is from like, okay, I have to win or I have to get here. It's not about any of that. One thing that the messages that was coming through is that sometimes we see these portals or these dates, and in our brain we're like, uh-oh, I better get things together, and it takes us out of bliss. It takes us out of being coherent. It takes us out of just enjoying things, and it puts us into that linear, I have to get to point A so I can get to point B, and oh no, I forgot that I didn't do this the other day, so I must be wrong. Or for example, I must be a sinner because I didn't pray. It's not about that. It's about letting go and feeling good and being in harmony. And if you feel guided to pick up the phone and call a friend because you haven't talked to them in a while, go for it, because that interaction might assist you in tripling up, and it might assist that friend in doubling up. And it's like this combination of all of us coming together and working together in this unification, this oneness. Does that make sense? Kind of. So that's what goes on with these portals. So it's not to look at it as like, okay, if you miss the portal, it's done, it's over, you don't get to play again, because there is no time. So even though 1111 is a portal, and it's great if we can line ourselves up and bring ourselves into alignment with our own power, our own sovereignty, and let go of things, shed that old skin that no longer fits us, it'll be easier for us to flow or to fit into in alignment with the portals, the alignments, and so on and so forth. That doesn't mean that if something comes up and we have a bad day or something like that, they're saying screwed. We're not screwed, right? It's kind of like, it's our attitude is what screws us. And they're showing a screw, like tightening things up. Like, we're only tightening things up if we're not letting go, and letting go of that need to control how things line up. Sometimes things happen and we just have to go, well, okay, I am aware. Let me get back into my heart. And as soon as we do that, as soon as we line everything up with our heart and our higher self or our source connection and connect to the earth, boom, we're back in again. So that's just one of the messages that wanted to come through, because a lot of times, especially if you guys are in this, I look at a lot of the dates and people that are hooked on astrology. It's like, oh no, Mercury's in retrograde, therefore this will happen on these dates. That is true, yet it is not true for everyone. It is how much we believe in it and where we are in alignment when those dates line up, so to speak. So I just wanted to kind of share that as well. So they're saying allowing, and it's saying out loud, I now allow, or I let go, or I see, I am that I am love, I am light. Recognizing that what we are listening to, right, what we are telling ourselves, the stories that we are telling others, the stories that we are repeating in our mind on this wheel, in these wheels, to keep the wheels turning, is essentially what assists us or what holds us back from turning our turning points or getting into alignment with seeing what is opening or what direction we should be turning towards in front of us. So lots of plays on words here. I'm going to do a little toning. As we stabilize our own frequencies, we assist all others. They're showing me like a spaceship that's trying to land on planet, for example. Like if you've watched any movies and it's like this is going on, nothing stable, so that can't dock. It can't land and anchor in. And what they're showing me are crystal lattice points. So if you ever look at a crystal lattice structure, okay, and lots is coming through for me about the dodecahedron, but the hexagonal energies. So like think of a beehive, and if everything is vibrating with the bees, right, everything lines up and the bees kind of wave and there's a harmonic flow or a harmonic convergence that allows everything just to kind of flow and enter in. But if this over here is out of alignment, when this portal comes to dock, so to speak, it doesn't anchor in as much. It doesn't lock in as much. It's not felt. And it's like the pieces of a puzzle. You know, it's uncomfortable. So if we're open, it allows us to essentially anchor in, and that Rubik's Cube can then shift, is kind of what they're showing me. They're showing that Buzz Lightyear. So what's happening, so one of the messages that came through, that's been coming through, is chaos theory. And I had seen this car, and the back of the car said, embrace the chaos. And I knew that sign was like, all right, I'm in this flow right now about chaos theory. So I went ahead and I looked it up. And essentially what they're showing is it might look like chaos around us and everything else might be spinning. But if we are centered and we are in that space of recognizing, observing, not reacting, allowing ourselves to be the compassionate witness, to observe what is going on around us. It allows us to hold space, and it allows that vibration to connect with our beehive of lightworker brothers and sisters, and it assists in these portals to do what they're supposed to do, right? So it brings us back into alignment with what many of us feel like we came here to do, so to speak, from one perspective. But the other is just that it allows us to anchor into these frequencies. It's not necessarily about being of service anymore. It's just about creating. So it's like we're getting these tidbits of information that are flowing in that are only going to assist us in what we've been asking for. So we asked for fill in the blanks, and then all of a sudden these portals line up and they're like, all right, here you go, right? So we're being invited to recognize that and to assist in stabilizing those frequencies so that everybody can benefit from it. But of course, there's more than that. And they're showing me that this beehive is all about vibration. So I'm getting a lot of stuff, hawks and blue jays and crows, and a lot of our, I'm getting feline frequencies, dolphin activity, whales, sonar. I mean, it is like this isn't just one alignment that's coming in alignment with this 11-11 portal. And it's not just 11-11, it's like the whole month of November. 11, right? Elevation, elevating, leavening, expanding, rising, levitating. Lots of things coming through about that in the whole month of November. Diving in and allowing yourself to link up with what is feeling good for you. If you feel guided to work with feline frequencies or bird energies or whale or dolphin, all of those are appropriate because we are all plugged in to all of those frequencies, so to speak. And you guys, I'm speaking on a multi-dimensional level, even though I'm saying feline, right? People see cats. I see that as feline, purring, lyra, 9, the number 9. I see it as feminine. I see it as a lot of things. Whales and dolphins hold these higher harmonic frequencies as well. I see water being huge with all of this. Air, of course, earth. I'm seeing lots of references to mushrooms and fungi right now. And this interconnection of web activity. And if you visualize the inter roots underneath the trees, I'm seeing all this reference to rings on the trees. The message that came through this morning was the trees listen because they're ringing, they're singing for us, through us, as us, because we're all connected. And even though so when I'm saying these words, they can be triggers for something that is a reminder that we're bigger than just one thing. We're bigger than just, it's chaos theory. It's what we do affects everything, right? It's literally throwing a pebble in water and it's bubbling out, it's waving out, and we are having that effect right now. And then I'm seeing it like a boomerang is what it's showing me. So also this has reference to a lot of Aboriginal ancestor activity that I'm seeing reference to. So it's like a boomerang coming back around and connecting back in, and it's a link. So it's linking up with patterns that were already set in motion in other existences. And they're showing me a play on words on that. Exes, access points, other portals that had lined up for this moment. Okay. So I think I'm going to end on that note for now, because that's just a little sharing of what I'm seeing in flow right now. So there will be a lot more. I'm writing a lot right now, and finally someday I'll get that posted and I'll let you guys know. I'm posting a little on Instagram today, so a little inflow messages that are meant to be activating words, activating frequencies. Whenever I'm sharing these messages, and it's not just me, it's others that you might listen to and go, oh, that feels interesting to me, or that resonates with me, or it feels good when I hear those words or songs or sounds, because I am sharing my frequency that I'm connecting in with, which is a broad bandwidth from what I'm being told. It's like it's an anchoring, it's a life flowing frequency that I'm tapping into, that we all can tap into. And it's essentially inviting, when you listen and share in this now moment with one another, we're all anchoring and tapping into it. And that's part of the reason I do this work. So, which isn't work, it's play, it's fun, it's creative expression, right? So thank you so much for tuning in. Just a little update on all that, a little inflow message from the guides. So just to recap also, have fun and play, and allow yourself to feel light. And if heaviness comes up, it's okay. If you feel the need to cry, that's okay too. Crying is one of the best ways to it doesn't mean that it's sad. Sometimes crying is water, it's flowing, it's like an energy expression, it's opening, it's clearing, it's cleansing. So it isn't about holding back anymore. If we feel like we need to get out and connect with our brothers and sisters, it's a great opportunity to do that. But at times like this, sometimes it's good just to feel alone as well. let me rephrase that. If we feel like being alone, right? It's good to just do that. Sometimes in doing that, it assists us in connecting in with our brothers and sisters, our guides that are trying to communicate with us. But what I want to share on that note is sometimes our guides and ancestral brothers and sisters connect to us, through us, by us connecting with others as well. So sometimes it is about getting out there and connecting with our brothers and sisters, because the universe speaks through them as well, because we are all conduits for these energies that are coming in. So have fun sharing. In love and light, guys. Namaste.